Hi guys. In the Tsunami Oceanic Uproar project, I mentioned that my tsunami dreams have stopped. Turns out they haven't. I recently had three more, and I believe the last two will possibly shock you too, if by any chance you looked and read everything that I uploaded. This is kind of a rushed emergency upload, so I won't be putting in a lot of nicely edited things or a carefully scripted recording. I'm gonna cough, I'm gonna sniff, I'm possibly yell at people in the background for not being quiet. So just bear with me. I just want to quickly put these two dreams up for you so you can see what I'm seeing and feel what I'm feeling, because I believe it's very interesting. I had two dreams. In one dream, I am in the shoes of a mother and her little boy. It's some kind of chill day, like relaxed day, and we are, so I think it might be a holiday. I'm talking a lot about a holiday timing for this disaster. So it's some kind of chilled, relaxed day, and we are in a park. People are enjoying picnics. Everyone suddenly becomes alarmed and they start to look up. I, the mother, also look up just in time to see a massive asteroid plowing through the moon and causing the moon to explode outward like a boom. It's like a shockwave goes out. The shockwave from that explosion is so severe that when it hits the Earth, it removes the Earth's atmospheres or severely pushes it away. I'm not sure for how long, but it pushes the Earth's atmosphere away. Clouds, air, oxygen gone. It pushes it out to space. Pushes it away so that suddenly the air and the atmospheric protection from space is gone. All around me, cars, trees, buildings, and people are being sucked out into space. Now, this is a very vivid dream, very sensory, overwhelming dream. Now, yeah, people and things are being sucked out to space because there's no air keeping things normal. I know it's gravity keeping everything on the ground, but it's like the air is gone and that's bad, and people are suffocating and things are being pulled out into space. It's crazy. Of course, moon debris are colliding with the Earth here and there. I see that in the background, but the worst immediate danger was the sudden naked Earth. The mother clinged for dear life to the Earth beneath her. I think she was like holding on to a bicycle rack or something, and she was clinging onto this, or holding on for dear life. And then with the other hand, she was holding on to a sun that was being tugged by the sudden void of space. Suddenly something really weird happened. It's like the dream changed from very literal to more figurative. Earth's atmosphere that was blown away suddenly became like a long waft of, I don't know if waft is the right word that I can use, but it became like a cloth, like a blanket, like a fabric that was like loosely hanging off the earth. And like the mother was clinging onto the edge of this earth cloth fabric, what we call it. She was clinging onto this blanket that symbolized the earth's atmosphere, and she was clinging on to dear life, and this blanket of the earth's covering was flapping in space, and she was just like clinging onto it. It's like it was very surreal. The earth was in the distance and you could see the cloth coming outward, and I was in this woman's perspective and I was clinging onto this cloth of the Earth's very dear atmosphere, and then my child also like flapping in space. And suddenly the dream was like this, but it's all the same theme. It's just the way the world's covering was symbolized. That this blanket that covers and protects the Earth was suddenly, the Earth was suddenly naked. It was just the rock. I believe all water and stuff evaporated as well. It's like the blanket of Earth was suddenly removed. Earth was exposed to be naked, completely exposed to space, and this was very disastrous. The dream became really abstract as the mother clung to the cloth of the Earth that was flapping violently due to the tug of space. Immediately this woke me up. I was pacing up and down in my room. I did not connect any spiritual significance to this dream yet, because it was just one dream, and I focus on pairs or specific experiences coming with a dream to connect any value to it. And also, I didn't know if anyone else was having this. This is the first time I've seen the moon exploding or something connecting with the moon. It was an amazing yet terrible dream. What a sight! It was so vivid and surreal. Something caught my eye outside. I was in the room, I was awake now, I was standing in my room, it was dark, it's like 4:30 a.m. And then when I was thinking about going back to bed, something caught my eye outside. An extremely bright and large star was in the sky. I suddenly thought I was back in the days of Bethlehem star, the star over the manger where Jesus was born. This huge star was in the sky, this thing. It's either a massive star, a massive object approaching Earth, or a massive UFO. This was 4 times the size of the biggest star you usually see in the night sky. I was blown away. But it didn't seem light years away. It seemed close, almost in our atmosphere. What was this thing? I stared at it for like 30 minutes, nothing happened. It was 5 in the morning by now, because I was staring at it for 30 minutes. I turned to go to bed when another anomaly showed up in the night sky. An orange satellite was streaking slowly by the star thing. I thought it was just that, a satellite. A satellite is a satellite is a satellite. And as I turned to go to bed again something incredible happened. This thing made right-angled turns in space, or wherever it was, in our atmosphere, or just beyond it, or maybe in space. I couldn't tell. It was just very far away. I barely saw it. I barely caught eye of it. It started making right angle turns, like suddenly, boom, boom, boom. And I know it has to be like extreme speeds, and you can't turn like that at extreme speeds. It's impossible for any airborne craft or spacecraft we have. Satellites can't turn, and even if they could, not like that. This thing was far off enough to definitely be in space. Then it got even more exciting. It shot out 3 objects. Boom, boom, boom. Each a little smaller than the orange light blip craft. So this main craft shot out smaller craft. These projectiles quickly faded away, and soon the orange blip, the main craft, the thing that was making the right angles, also faded. And I was just at a loss for words. The dream itself about the moon exploding held nothing without these 2 experiences right after it. Somehow, it started to dawn on me that this was a very significant thing that I was witnessing. There's one of the faults in the recording, but I'm not going to mind that now. The star could have been the star thing that was very bright. It could have been an extremely rare. The next day I found out that it could have been an extremely rare alignment of celestial bodies, stars, planets, whatever, that visually give off the illusion of one bright object in the sky, or in space. Possibly the Star of Bethlehem in the time of Jesus. Now, I'm just suddenly putting this up because I don't have much time and I'm very busy, so I didn't research this, but it could have been the same thing, possibly the Star of Bethlehem in the time of Jesus just now. That I was woken up by such a vivid dream only to see this star alone. The coincidence is a 1 in a million for these 2 things to happen in the same night. That extremely vivid dream with the star thing I'm seeing. My first thought it was some kind of massive UFO, and the asteroid was coming now, so I freaked out. And then that odd satellite thing streaking by the star. 3 events together have to mean something. I believe God gave me that dream with these things in the sky so that I can make some kind of connection, although the ultimate connection is not yet clear to me. The dream was in the morning about the moon exploding. That night I had a repeat that I will soon share. The star was the first coming of Jesus to this planet, and I believe the star was intended for me to see as a signpost for the theme of Christ's coming. Now, this is me speculating. The UFO shooting out probes tells me that something is up, something's going on, and people that have seen the same things or that have researched these things know that something is up. There's a lot of stories about the moon that you can also look up yourselves, but I'm not an expert. I just agree with a lot of people that something screwy is going on. Either the tsunami will be caused by God or some elaborate. See, now there's the dogs. Ek gaan die honde wurg. Yeah. Uh, where was I now? The star was the first coming of Jesus to this planet, and I believe the star was intended for me to see as a signpost for the theme of Christ's coming. The UFO shooting out probes tells me that something is up. Either the tsunami will be caused by God or some elaborate destruction conjured up for Satan's purposes. Because his UFO technologies. Okay, let's try that again. Alright, the UFO shooting out probes tells me that something is up. Either the tsunami will be caused by God or some elaborate destruction conjured up for Satan's purposes, because his UFO technologies, yes, I just said it, Satan's UFO technologies, because many believe there's a hybridization of angelic and human beings again, and this UFO technology is somehow connected to the whole phenomenon. And that Satan's purposes, because his UFO technologies definitely hold the power to cause planetary havoc. Maybe he's trying to usher in whatever his plans are to quicken things for whatever he wants to get accomplished. Why am I being shown this, woken up to witness these supposedly hidden things? I don't think a lot of people saw what I saw last night. But I did, and it's like they were supposed to be hidden, but I saw them alongside this weird MOONBOOM dream. Why is God combining events like this, and what's up with the exploding moon? That day I thought hard, and the next morning it all fell into place. This morning, the very same day. Dream 2. Not even the span of a day between the two dreams. That night of the morning I dreamt about the moon exploding again. Okay, so it's yesterday morning, woke up from the first exploding moon, and that very same day, the night, I dreamt, and now it's the other day. But less than a span of 12 hours, let's say that. I dreamt about the moon exploding again. This time, people were sort of on holiday again. Well, I was at the ocean with some other people amidst beautiful buildings and a general feel of relaxation. It was a beautiful day. The moon merely exploded in the distance. That's how it happened. It's like the normal flow of the day just went on. And oh, so by the way, the moon is exploding. Ek like het nie eens mense praat in die agtergrond nie. O, heerlikheid. It was a beautiful day. The moon merely exploded in the distance. One of those days where you could see the moon even though the sun was out. We saw it exploding, but nothing impacting the moon. The force of the explosion caused a terrible wind to harass the earth with a horrible magnitude. But that was soon over. The oceans came onto the land with wave after wave of destruction. It took over coastal regions, and we had to retreat further and further inland to be amidst dry ground that we could farm, without fear of drowning. With us, okay, here comes the funny part, with us was a douchebag. Now, if I say douchebag, I mean like that guy that wears sunglasses, even though it's like already nighttime, or he wears sunglasses indoors, and he wears the t-shirts that always like shows off parts of him, and he wears like rings and stuff. That kind of guy. Now, I'm not biased or anything. It's just this douchebag was in my dream, so I couldn't do anything about it. But his symbol was very significant. Before the wave hit, this douchebag worked on everyone's nerves. Typical person that everyone loves for all the wrong reasons. We were enemies in a sense, but not directly. It's just I felt a certain aura from him, and he felt a certain aura from me. We didn't mix, but we didn't tell each other that we hated each other. It's just in the dream there was like tension. There we go. But after the disastrous events, and when we were far enough from the raging seas and the ruined cities, this man changed, the douchebag. Now, before I forget, there was girls all around him, constantly around him, wanting his attention, and they were also kind of like this douchebag guy, but in the feminine sense, they were like the opposites. Oh no, just the different version. You know, the female version of a douchebag. That's it. That's what they were. Now, this man changed soon after the disaster, or because of the disaster. I saw him later as I approached him to ask him to work with us to plant potatoes. But now, when I saw this man, his stupid sunglasses were off. His fancy clothes were all dirtied. He appeared more down to earth, and the swarm of girls around him stopped swarming him for attention, but swarmed him for survival. They relied on his strength now. They were no longer these giggling dolls looking for affection and fun. They were these stressed and annoyed women, also dirty. Everyone was dirty. They were stressed and annoyed women that recently grasped their utter lack of maturity. It's like they realized it when the wave came, like all of the candy-coated elements of life was gone suddenly, and you had to start using your brain. The douchebag had another severe transformation. His body had deep wounds here and there, but specifically his stomach or abdomen region. That region had 7 to 9 to 12 fatal stab wounds. Somehow he was still alive, and when I asked him about it, he said not to worry, he got them when the waves came, and that he's been living long enough with the wounds on him, so that means he won't die because of them. I also noticed that he's been living long enough with the wounds that he won't die because of them. And I just said that, but the text is so far away for me to read because I have a very strange setup with my computer. He won't die because of them. Also, I noticed a lot of his rings, necklaces, and random bling that he wore was also gone. He looked more like a dirty mechanic than the usual macho man. He was also very helpful and sort of sobered up in his thinking. He actually knew a lot about farming potatoes, and we eventually came to rely on him, which was in stark contrast by how many people disliked him before the disaster. I believe this dream is telling me that God will allow the terrible loss and disasters, because if he leaves us as we are now, we will grow farther and farther away from him due to our desires. The punctures in the man's gut was his destroyed desires that helped him to sober up his self-loving mind and bring him back to earth, back to the human being he was made to be, and also those girls with him. So symbolically, the punctured abdomen or the punctured stomach is like destroyed desires, if you can picture that. I think I'm going to put a pic on just so that you can like easily see what I saw, and it was really supposed to be dead. I think there's something symbolic about that too. The Bible speaking about dying to self, dying to fleshly desires, dying to selfish desires, dying to desire, and how this man's desire was killed in a sense, but he was still living. And you know, when we go to heaven, when we are taken to heaven, that's exactly what we're going to be. We're still going to be ourselves. We're still going to be alive. It's just that horrible burden of flesh will be destroyed. And in a sense, this is what God wants to do, because he wants to maximize the amount of souls he takes to heaven. And this is one of the ways for him to do it. The Bible told us long enough that judgment's coming, and we could have prepared, and people will have another chance if they are lucky enough to survive the disasters that are coming initially for the aftermath, and maybe get themselves right then. And the dream is telling me that some people will get their minds right. The douchebag and the girls wholly symbolize today's society, and why a catastrophe will not be such a bad thing except for the ocean of souls that will be lost in that day. That's a big gamble God is taking, but hey, it's his plan, and I'm just gonna do what I can to support him and his people and to make sure the best outcome becomes reality. We had thousands of years and we're just screwing up, and we have had thousands of years and we just keep screwing this planet up more and more. God does not want to completely lose his garden and us as his garden gnomes, so he has to do some landscaping. But you won't understand the landscaping God's going to do if you stay against God the whole time and never listen to his side of the story. It's actually more logical and loving than the media wants you to think. If you really grasp God's story, it will surprise you how easy, how logical, and how loving the things he does are. My Engels is verschrikkelijk. Get rid of the angry, illogical God bull. Yes, I said bull. Traditions and religion is empty. God is a living, breathing entity that answers you when you approach him boldly. I can guarantee that. Try it. Just don't do it through a medium or a perspective of trying to impress him with nice, churchy, religious things. Just approach him as you are. Speak to him like you would speak to a friend or a very dear family member. That's the right approach. Stay away from religious thinking. Stay away from traditions trying to impress God. That's going to kill the experience. That's something that Satan uses to block you away from God. Because we're not under law anymore. Christ came to change that. We are under relationship. And that's what he wants for the both of you. The second time I dream about a moon exploding, and the first time I see it causing the tsunami phenomenon. Many tsunami vision witnesses speak of large objects colliding with Earth when the tsunami event happens. Could be moon chunks. I saw a video where John Paul Jackson, a dream and prophecy expert, explains that God has plans, but not all his plans and judgments are always set in stone. There is still grace and leniency for the cancellation or altering of the outcome. Take for example Jonah, that was instrumental for God in creating a way for the judgment not to come. So God wanted and was on his way to judge the city Nineveh. But God changed what he wanted to do by using Jonah to stand in the gap. So God wanted to judge them. He had to judge the city, but he didn't want to judge the city. So he used people to intercede for the objects of judgment. Okay, let's try that again. God wanted to judge the city. God had to judge the city, but he didn't want to. So he used an individual to save the people. There we go. So the same thing in this case. What I'm saying is that God is still looking to see exactly how this event will happen. I believe I'm one of the first or one of the few ever dreaming about our lunar pal popping and causing our oceans to freak out. This is the first day I ever considered the moon's destruction being a cause of a tsunami event. It makes sense because in my dreams I see that the tsunami or tsunamis will happen and okay, hier so het ek nou weer verkeerd geskryf. I see that the tsunami or tsunamis will happen, and then ever since that day, so the tsunamis will happen, and ever since that terrible day, for a stretch of time each year, the oceans would come bulging inward to ruin the very same coasts again and again with massive tsunamis, annually. So the tsunami event will happen, and then afterward, every year, there will be an annual time when the oceans would freak out and come to ruin the coastal regions of Earth, or maybe just the Atlantic, I'm not sure. One dream I heard a group of people calling it the 100 days of rain. It's 100 days each year when the oceans, you just have to stay clear of the coastal regions because the tsunamis will come again. Not just a flooding, like is the first time it's going to be a tsunami and then afterward every year a little bit of flooding. No, the tsunami event will happen every year, annually, and for 100 days each year you have to avoid the coastal regions or else you'll die. You can't build there again because whatever you build will be destroyed anyway. Scientists theorize that if the moon was damaged badly enough, or especially removed, then earthquakes, volcanoes, extreme cold, and extreme heat would be the norm alongside the tides bulging unusually on one side of the planet and then different on the other side because of the sun being the only source that pulls the oceans. With the Earth's rotation or orbit, it could account for the 100 days of rain, this annual time period when the oceans freak out. The 100 days annual tsunami disaster time for the Atlantic or maybe coasts all over the world. Some people see something impacting the sea, other people see only earthquakes, other people only see the oceanic uproar, others see fire or volcanoes, and then some people only see the terrible waves, the gigantic mega tsunamis. Some see a single meteor, others see multiple ones. Separated, and it seems that these things could collaborate to show you just how much we prophetic dreamers contradict each other. We all say different things, or kind of sound the same, but not all. And if God is a God of order and not disorder, then he would like show each other the same. He will show everyone the same thing, but that's not what's happening. But if you take all of this together under the banner of the moon going boom, then you have a recipe for everything to fit in place and explain what is coming on the world. The Bible says stars. The word for stars in the Greek is aster. That's the root word we get asteroid from. So the Bible says asteroids will fall in the last days. It also says the moon will not give its light. The only way the moon does not give its light is if an asteroid impact cloud. The only way the moon does not give its light is if the asteroid impact, if, Afrikaans, help my asseblief. The only way the moon will not give its light is if an asteroid impact that hits the earth creates a cloud, and that cloud of dust or debris or whatever covers the whole earth, and so we can see no moon and also no sun, or maybe a little sun and definitely no moon. That could account for the prophecy in the Bible that the moon will not give its light. Or if we lose the sun, then the moon will have no light to reflect. But that's absurd, because no sun, then no life at all, and then the rest of Revelation will not be able to come into being, because there won't be anything on earth. We will all freeze instantly, and the Bible definitely does not speak about a big freeze. It speaks about the final wrath being the whole earth being covered with fire. So I think the sun will hang on to the end. Or the moon won't give its light anymore because the moon will be gone, as I'm dreaming. And the falling stars and that the apocalyptic writings highlight will be falling parts of the moon. You know, if you are John on the island of Patmos and you see things falling out of the sky, you won't know what they are, because in those days you didn't have a word like asteroid or the knowledge of space objects flying into the Earth's atmosphere. If you see a fireball in the sky, you're going to think a star is falling on Earth. But logically, we know that a star today, if only one star collided with Earth, the Earth would be like melted away. So I believe that's what they either saw meteorites coming down on Earth, or maybe just debris coming down on Earth. Maybe that's the falling stars that John saw, that Jesus is referencing to. Or maybe the falling stars that maybe the falling stars that are referenced in the Bible is actually the high amounts of fireballs we are seeing these days as a sign that the end is coming. So, I'm just speculating. The moon thing fits, guys. It's not me trying to be the most fringy one in the fringy wagon. It literally fits the context of all my dreams and the others. What will happen exactly? I don't know, but a lot of people are getting a lot of dreams that support each other, and we all believe the author of these dreams is God. And if things happens exactly like the dreams foretell, then that will mean God is glorified, and then He will be magnified as an authority on everything that is happening, and He will be highlighted as the source for securing your destiny. How can you secure your destiny? Draw closer to God, even closer than you normally are. Ja. Ja, wat ook al. Okay? Daar is my moon thing. Nou klaar. Bye.